success rate because they struggled in that area for a while. Huddersfield hit the dreaded double of under 1,000 metres. Actually, they only made 801 metres and a sub 90% team tackle success. In terms of individuals, Luke Thompson stormed back to form with a 2-try, 10-tackle bust, 165-metre 2 clean break performance. Lachlan Coote was involved again in this game, 132 metres for him. Alex Walmsley, 1 try assist, 128 metres. And Regan Grace. There was a few players with similar stats, Tim, but just because you were on the show, I thought I'd slip in young Regan, who had a quarter of the field to score his try in, so he definitely couldn't mess up. 1 try, 109 metres and 2 clean breaks for him. No one from the Huddersfield side put in stats worthy of a mention.
Yeah.
So fan views.
Fan views. Rob said some very questionable refereeing decisions in this game. Maybe we should get Ken to go on a rant.
He added a smiley face. I think he's aware that the refereeing decisions had no impact on the outcome of this result. St David said, well, that's more like it. The Pack are back with a bang. Errors crept in following the rain, but good to see plenty of points allied to the rock-like defence. Best Tomo has played since his injury. Big Al, Roby and Knowles also on fire. Onwards to OT. Bring it home, says St David.
Going to an operating theatre.
So obviously it does seem like Saints have overcome their hiccup. It was against one of the lower ranked sides, and they did go with their inexperienced spine rather than their usual spine. So, well, halfback certainly. So Oliver Russell and Tom Holmes came in for niggle carrying Lee Gaskell and Matt Frawley in this game. Aaron Murphy as well, who undoubtedly is being held together by pins and stuff at this stage of the season, given how he throws his body
brown
around.
paper and various other things.
Yeah, he missed this one as well. So I mean, Sebi Kahifo got to go. That tells you where the Giants were at. Unfortunately for them, Michael Lawrence has picked up an injury, which seems to think that he'll be ruled out next week. He was their try scorer, their captain. But it's all about the Saints, really. I can't think we can take too much from the defensive side of things, even though they obviously perform well to keep aside to only 1 try in the 80 minutes. It's more that for a while their attack seems to have been stuttering, but in this game all of the players were involved in the clips that you see. Now, obviously their last try was absolutely ludicrous, so that the correct scoreline should be 42 points to 24. But Lachlan Coote kicked all his goals, which will be welcome for him after the sliced attempt at Wembley. Johnny Lomax got a try and had some hands in other parts of the attacking play, and him and Farge seem to be clicking together again, which will only delight the St Helens fans. But it was the forwards. I mean, Luke Thompson looked back to his best. You look at the highlights and he's absolutely steamrolling people, and it seems to have been a Pack-dominated Saints win, really. It looked like there were strong performances from all of the forwards. Amor got a try, LMS got a few metres in the game. Morgan Knowles, he provided the highlight moment, I'd say, his try. I mean, you'd be forgiven for thinking it was a halfback putting a fullback through a hole from the middle of the pitch, but actually it was a prop in Alex Walmsley tipping it onto a back rower in Morgan Knowles, who absolutely steamed through. And the outside back, I mean, Darnell McIntosh was nowhere near getting to stop him on that bit after he threw a dummy that probably didn't need throwing. But anyway, I think that was the highlight moment for me. Morgan Knowles' try just before half time, which
it was the three different tries all set up by James Roby from an almost identical position. You know, a quick play the ball on the right in front of the sticks, ships it out one left. Thank you very much. Someone scored. Straight three of them straight in a row, and it's like, come on, Huddersfield. And that's what gives me confidence that they could be the ones to miss out on the dance party next week. Well, there's that lack of defence. I just can't see them. Yeah, I can't see them holding it together. And
Saints were striking when they were in position to strike, which they haven't necessarily been doing recently in the last 2 weeks. So it's a worry for everyone else at the top of the table too. It's a worry for Huddersfield down at the bottom. I mean, it really does put a dent in their points difference. We'll get to that when we recap the table. Shall we recap the Warrington versus Wakefield game?
No, let's not bother. Warrington 23, Wakefield 16.
It is the game I know the least about this week.
16-0, me too. 16-0 at half-time in front of 10,158. Oh, they just sneaked it over 10,000. What a coincidence. Mr. Chris Kendall being your referee there. In terms of the statistics, we have incomplete stats for the teams.
Yeah, when Titus Suarez is on the in the Trinity side, he doesn't appear to be recognised as a Trinity player by the Super League website. So let's just guess that the Wolves won on most of the stats.
Yeah, they probably did all right. Stefan Ratchford made 1 try assist, ran for 125 metres. Tom Lynham, 5 tackle busts, 123 metres for him. Joshua Charnley, 1 try, 135 metres. Bryson Goodwin, 1 try, 5 tackle busts, 103 metres, and 2 clean breaks. For the losing Wakefield side, Adam Tangata, 117 metres, ran for him. Reece Lynn, 1 try assist, 102 metres. Joe Arundel, 1 try assist, 105 metres. And Kalepi Taganoa, 5 tackle busts and 106 metres. We did have some fan views on this one.
Yeah, if Wakefield were the team to go down, Kalepi Taganoa would be the top of my list to take from that side, certainly. Mike Dodd 22 said, a gritty yet much improved wire performance finally saw us win a league game at the 7th time of asking, with very few handling errors, again being the foundation. Bryson Goodwin showed us what we're going to miss with some good breaks and finishing off an excellent set play in the second half. Other results mean we can finish anywhere from 2nd to 5th next week.
That's crazy.
It's exciting.
It is. Every minute is going to matter next week, to reuse an old slogan. Tom Eckley said, so for the first half, Warrington was spurred on by the appearance of Matty Blythe in the 2009 celebration and actually played good rugby. Of course, because Matty Blythe is the nicest guy ever to play Super League.
Tom Eckley,
That's my welcome to my TED Talk.
I just think it's fantastic. That I feel like if we could be doing this show in 50 years' time, and well, we couldn't be, but Tom will still be around, and he'll be saying the same thing about Matty Blythe. Matty Blythe this year will get 1 vote for the Super League Pod Player of the Year. I can guarantee you that.
And as he should. He's he's the nicest player I've ever worked with. Matty Blythe. He was such a gent.
What else?
Such a nice player. However, at half-time, Mr. Kendall must have gone on to the open sewer that is Twitter, or had a visit from McManus himself, and is entirely responsible for the Wakefield points. I promise Warrington incompetence played no part whatsoever.
And EFC78JU said, Warrington had quite a few tries in the first half until Wakefield were fighting back until the penalty and drop in the second half. Before that even happened, Bryson on his farewell game gone and scored a try on 52 minutes that could have been Stefan Ratchford's, but instead he passed because he didn't want to take the tackle on him. And the hacker at the end of the game was amazing for Benny Westwood retirement. Yeah, that's the kind of insight we like from the fan reviews. The hacker that the players did for Benny Westwood at the game to celebrate his retirement and what was potentially his last home game. The last home game that Warrington played whilst he's a player, because he didn't even play, did he? But yeah, potentially the last home game, because if they finish in 3rd or 5th, there's no guarantees of a home match, is there?
Yeah.
Oh no, there is. They should have a home game in the playoffs unless they finish 5th. But anyway, exciting stuff there. That's good insight. I like hearing about stuff like that we wouldn't necessarily pick up.
Stuff you don't see.
Yeah.
That's exactly why we have fan views, is so we can find out about these things.
Exactly.
Do you think it was a little bit harsh not to include Super Benny Westwood in the team?
I would have said yes if it wasn't that they needed to win this game. They absolutely needed to win this game. When Mike says that they can finish anywhere from 2nd to 5th, if they didn't win this game, they could only finish, they couldn't finish 2nd, and they might not finish 5th. So it was absolute must win, and you had to pick your strongest team available, and it's hard to argue that Ben Westwood is a better middle for them at the moment than Chris Hill, Mike Cooper, Jason Clark, Akawala or Philbin. So I think it's fair dues. Blake Austin back. What do you think that was a factor as well for for Wire?
I definitely think so. I think obviously that he's come back at the right time for them.
If not a factor in this game, a factor for what we look forward to, isn't it?
It's getting him back to some fitness and match awareness and ready for the playoffs. So he'll be hopefully fit for that, and we can get a performance out of him, which would be good.
Any players from what you've caught of this that stood out?
In a word, no.
Any of the tries? Did you watch the tries?
I did watch the tries, but do you know what? I can't remember much of it.
I'm sorry, Warrington fans and Wakefield fans. This game just had to pass me by, I'm afraid. When we divvied these out, I didn't pay any attention to it. So, yeah, we will move on to the last game.
Yeah,
the round,
which hopefully you can tell us a little bit more about.
I'm more aware of what happened in this one, yes. It finished Wigan Warriors 46, Catalan Dragons 12. It was 14-0 to Wigan at the halfway point, courtesy of 2 tries from the excitement machine that is Bevan French, and also a penalty on an 8-point try. So the
Bevan French excitement machine sounds like it should be a band name.
Definitely. It's Adrian Lamb and the Bevan French excitement machine. 10,804.
That sounds more seedy when you put Adrian Lamb in there.
I have no reason why. His lovely speckled grey beard, it does not suggest anything of seediness. 10,804. Robert Hicks was the referee in this one, and he did have some things to deal with, as we'll touch on in a minute. But in terms of the team stats, Catalan put in a sub 1,000 metre, sub 90% tackle success rate double, as Wigan had over 200 more metres at 1.4 metres per carry better average game with 6 more breaks. They made fewer errors, conceded fewer penalties, and had a 9% better team tackle success rate for a comprehensive win. Individually, Bevan French, 3 tries, 2 try assists, 12 tackle busts, 110 metres and 4 clean breaks. I mean, I'd say 8 of those 12 tackle busts came against Braden Willie-Harvey, who just had no fucking clue how to tackle Bevan French in this game. Dan Sargentson, 1 try and 133 metres. His try richly deserved for the efforts he put in throughout. Oliver Gildart with a try to polish things off, 1 try, 6 tackle busts, 127 metres and 3 clean breaks for him. And Romain Navarrete, who played big minutes and had the black eye to show for it on Saturday, 123 metres for the French forward there. So it's probably the longest shift I've seen him do for Wigan, although he didn't have to do much defending. Jason Battieri makes the stats round up for the Catalan side with 45 tackles, 14 of which were marker tackles, probably 30 of which were high. but you know, him and Tony Clubb both seem to come into this game thinking that the shoulders was low. Basically is how I would describe it. We had 1 fan viewing on this one.
Yeah, it was from White Pie, who said, French showed the French what a French can do.
Nice work.
Lots of handling errors from a Wigan point of view, but we easily beat a disinterested Dragons side who have already gone on their holidays. Bevan French was rightly man of the match, but Sarge had his best game of the year and a cracking cameo by Harry Smith. Looks like second and another tilt at OT for the Pies. Also off to the operating theatre.
Hopefully so from my point of view as well, Lee. Yeah. So the game started with Wigan making lots of errors, inviting Catalans onto them. And actually, to be fair, Catalans made a couple of breaks from deep and didn't look completely and utterly devoid of inspiration and capability. They actually didn't look inept for a little bit. But that Wigan had good cover defence on those breaks, and then Wigan kind of gave... I don't understand what Wigan are doing at the moment. They need to cut it out against the better sides, because against the poorer sides they've just been inviting them onto their own. I don't know if they're practicing defence or something, but we defended for pretty much the first 20 minutes of the game through our own errors. But Catalans, when they got close to Wigan line, didn't have anything to break down the Wigan side, with Lucas Albert and Greg Bird in the halves. Now, Liam Farrell was sin-binned, and at the time I thought it was a bit harsh. But when I've seen it back, actually does lose control in the tackle, and Greg Bird just about gets into a dangerous position. So he's facing a 1-game ban next week, which Castleford should rub their hands out, because Liam Farrell's an exceptional player. Another one who it is baffling how he's not in the Great Britain EPS. But Yeah, so in that period, Wigan actually finally started to keep hold of the ball. Came very close to scoring a try from a George Williams kick through that just bounced the wrong way when